Hello and welcome to the broadcast, race fans. Today is Armchair Autosport's debut race commentary for the PPG 375 from Texas Motor Speedway. This is the second race of the 2023 IndyCar season and the first oval of the series. After nearly a month-long break since the first race in St. Petersburg, Florida, the stars and cars of the IndyCar series will race for 375 laps around the high banks of Texas Motor Speedway. The race start has been moved up by a few minutes. Initially, the race was scheduled to begin at 11:15. However, due to inclement weather in the area, the command to fire engines is actually going to be taking place only moments away at 11 a.m. Central Time. With that coming up, ladies and gentlemen, let's go over today's starting lineup. On pole position from Switzerland, I'm sorry, from Sweden, we have Felix Rosenquist racing for Arrow McLaren, powered by a Chevrolet engine. On in second place, we have New Zealander Scott Dixon racing for Chip Ganassi Racing in his Honda-powered car. On row two, we have Alexander Rossi racing only in his second ever race for Arrow McLaren. Alongside him, we have Joseph Newgarden in his Chevrolet-powered Team Penske car. On row three, we have Pato Award on the inside in the third of the Arrow McLarens, and alongside him, Takuma Sato, teammate to Scott Dixon in Chip Ganassi Machinery. Behind them on the next row, we have Alex Palou in seventh, the 2021 champion, and then alongside him, Will Power in eighth, the in Team Penske car as well. Behind them, in position 9, we have David Malukas with Dale Coyne Racing. Alongside him, Colton Herta in Andretti Autosport. Behind them, in row 6, we have Roman Grosjean and Andretti Autosport teammate Devlin DiFrancesco, making up an all Andretti row. Behind them, another team matchup, all AJ Foyt Racing, the first of our three rookie contenders, Benjamin Peterson from Denmark. Alongside him, his more veteran teammate, Santino Ferrucci. Moving along to 15th position, the last of the three Team Penske vehicles, Scott McLaughlin. Alongside him, we have the other Chip Ganassi racing driver, Marcus Ericsson. 17th position, we have Callum Eilert for Juncos Hollinger Racing, alongside owner driver Ed Carpenter for Ed Carpenter Racing. Behind them, Callum Eilert's rookie teammate, the second rookie in the lineup, Augustine Canapino for Juncos Hollinger Racing. Alongside him is Kyle Kirkwood, starting 20th, the last of the four Andretti Autosport drivers. Next to him, or behind them, we have an all Meyer Shank racing row with Elio Castroneves in the 06 and then Simon Pagenaud in the 60. Beyond that, in 23rd position, last of the rookies for Stingray Robb in Dale Coyne Racing, and Graham Rahal, the first of the three Rahal Letterman Lanigan cars in 24th. Second to last row is Ed Carpenter Cars, Connor Daly, and Renus VK. And the last row, hopefully looking to make up some ground in today's race, the last of the Rahal Letterman Lanigan drivers, Christian Lundgaard and Jack Harvey. Happy to see you here, folks. The race is going to be beginning after we conduct some pace laps and they wave the green with the starting lineup declared. Let's address some other pre-race points of interest. For the broadcast today, we're going to be utilizing a live timing screen, which may run a little bit ahead of the radio broadcast. Broadcast here, folks, is going to be pulling from a number of sources today, including the NBC Sports broadcast, as well as the timing and scoring screen you are seeing here as well as Reddit, actually, for other comments and tidbits on developing events throughout the race. Additionally, today, too, we will also be covering on the pre-race laps here a bit of a history on the surface of this event. Texas Motor Speedway is a track that holds, outside of IndyCar, a number of NASCAR events. Unfortunately, a number of years ago, to attempt to expand the raceability of the circuit for NASCAR, something known as the PJ1 compound was laid down on parts of this track. This PJ1 compound is a darker part of the track where an extra layer of rubber was laid down to try and add grip for the NASCAR events. However, the compound utilized by NASCAR and their Goodyear tires is not quite compatible with the Firestone tires utilized by IndyCar, resulting in a near ice-like surface with minimal grip for the Indy cars, turning this track into a near one groove racing line through the turns, making it quite the spectacle to navigate. In an attempt to widen the groove, there was a practice session yesterday to try and widen out the racing line, hopefully allowing today some side-by-side action through the turns. However, there was a NASCAR truck race yesterday that will have impacted the surface as well, and there also is the potential for inclement weather in the area. Rain incoming, hence the moving the start of the race up marginally. Um, Regarding the inclement weather in the area, we may see a rather spectacular charge to the finish. Shoot. Okay. Okay. All right, this is where we are starting to see already some of the differences in information provided from our sources. Timing is slightly ahead of the pictures and data I am getting otherwise. Race is getting to go green. Drivers are lined up two by two, entering three, coming through four. We're going to be going green at Texas Motor Speedway for 375 miles around these high banks. Let's go. Felix Rosenquist and Scott Dixon on the gas. They pull away, kicking up some dirt as they cross the start finish line. Everyone is away clean. No wrecks, making it clean. Already we can see Felix Rosenquist pulling away with the lead. Scott Dixon holding on to second, Alexander Rossi third, but it looks like Joseph Newgarden up to fourth and on a charge today, folks. Wow, he's already looking to go around the outside. Scott Dixon has taken the lead from Rosenquist, and Joseph Newgarden has taken third from Alexander Rossi. Newgarden on the charge again. He is up behind Scott Dixon. There he goes around the underside. Scott Dixon, no, Joseph Newgarden up to second. We now have Scott Dixon in the lead, and Joseph Newgarden has actually gone around the outside of Scott Dixon for the lead of the race. That is now Newgarden in the lead, followed by Dixon, Rossi right on his tail, a train of McLarens, Rosenquist fourth, and O'Ward fifth. Alex Palou is currently running 6th. Takuma Sato, 7th. Will Power is running 8th with Malukas in 9th. It looks like we've had yet another lead change again, folks, at the top. Scott Dixon getting around Joseph Newgarden. Bit of a back and forth. The Arrow McLarens jumbling up behind as well. It looks like we've got Pato O'Ward at the forefront of that trio of cars, and we've got Rossi and Rosenquist battling for 4th behind, side by side across the line as we start lap 5 here today. Coming up behind them is Alex Palou, looking like he's sniffing at the back of Felix Rosenquist, going to try and make a jump there. Behind them, we've had a change between Sato and Power. Sato overtaking Power for 7th position. And then we have another lead change at the line, folks. Newgarden going around the outside of Dixon into turn 1. Behind them, the McLarens continue to duke it out. Rosenquist now ahead of Rossi. O'Ward leading that group comfortably. However, they are line astern. Rosenquist, Rossi, Palou. That is for positions 4, 5, and 6. Intense racing from Texas today. Hopefully, we see this for all 375 miles or 250 laps. Another change between the McLarens. That is now Rossi and Rosenquist in 4th and 5th. Behind them, we actually have Alex Palou on Rosenquist on the inside going into turn 3 side by side, holding on to it through 4. They are still side by side at the line. Who's it going to be at this lap? Too close to call, but I believe it's Palou with the position. Palou has pulled ahead as they enter 1. Meanwhile, battles raging up ahead still. Rossi and O'Ward for 3rd. I think that's O'Ward holding on to it, but now we see Palou getting around Rossi actually for 4th. Oh gosh, the leaders, top 3 are all lined up. We have Dixon getting passed by Pato O'Ward. Pato O'Ward moving into 2nd. Now tracking behind Joseph Newgarden. Can we see Pato O'Ward take the lead today here perhaps shortly? He is defending race winner from 2 years ago. Newgarden won this race just last year. However, Newgarden and Dixon won this race when it held doubleheaders in 2021. Starting to fan out a little bit here as we're working lap 10. We have Newgarden actually leading at near half a second over O'Ward and Palou. O'Ward and Palou, however, it looks like are starting to close up. Will we see another change here as we start lap 11? Perhaps Palou on the outside, moving around O'Ward, but no, O'Ward closes that, is able to hold onto 2nd position. While we've been focusing on this top 3 here today, let's do a quick little rundown on the rest of the top 10. With Newgarden leading, O'Ward runs 2nd. Alex Palou, 3rd. Ganassi teammate Dixon, 4th. Roman Grosjean actually making up some ground here today, all the way down in 8th. Seeing him passing some cars, running back quick to the rundown. We got Rosenquist 5th. McLaren teammate Rossi 6th. Will Power, Penske teammate to race leader Newgarden 7th. Grosjean 8th. Dale Coyne, David Malukas in 9th. And Andretti Autosports Colton Herta in 10th. At this point now, I think they are definitely starting to have worked those tires. Everybody looks to be evening out, not as much of a dramatic jockeying for position as we saw coming around to start lap 15 currently. We actually do have a pass that looks like it's being worked. Roman Grosjean on the back of Will Power. Grosjean taking the higher line, so it looks like the rubbering in session was working. Grosjean drifted a bit wide, actually. Had to get out of the throttle on the exit of 2, and David Malukas passed him. Malukas is now closing up on Will Power. We'll watch that battle for 7th and 8th. With that, it looks like things are starting to settle down. Tires are starting to get worn out a bit. Tires, if this race does not see very many yellow flags, this race with tires and fuel will become quite the game of chess today as we see drivers potentially pitting early or attempting to stretch fuel. Pitting early, of course, a very valid strategy to attempt to get some better rubber on the tires, better grip, make up better lap times. But essentially, the trade off there is more time spent in the pits. So, what will we see as the ideal strategy today? We'll be taking a quick 30-second break here, folks, but we will return after this break. Welcome back, race fans. We are still green as we are working the PPG 375 from Texas Motor Speedway. This is IndyCar's second race of the year after a month-long break from the first race at St. Petersburg, Florida, ran back in February. Right now, we still have Joseph Newgarden leading the race, Pato O'Ward running second, and Alex Palou in third. Scott Dixon and Felix Rosenquist round out the top five, with Alexander Rossi, Will Power, David Malukas, Roman Grosjean, and Colton Herta your top 10. Marcus Ericsson, Takuma Sato, Callum Ilott, Scott McLaughlin, and Devlin DiFrancesco make up your top 15. And Santino Ferrucci, Benjamin Peterson, Augustine Canapino, Ed Carpenter, and Simon Pagenaud are the top 20. The bottom 8 positions are as follows: Renus VK, Kyle Kirkwood, Elio Castroneves, Graham Rahal, Stingray Robb, Jack Harvey, Connor Daly, and Christian Lundgaard. Currently, of the rookie battle, it appears we currently have Benjamin Peterson as the top running rookie in 17th. However, Augustine Canapino is right behind him in 18th. Stingray Robb, the third rookie, is down in 25th. That will be a fun battle to track today to see who takes home the rookie honors. Up front, Newgarden had stretched out a bit of a lead, but it looks like Pato O'Ward may be reeling him in ever so slightly at this point, this early in the race. At this point, 23 laps into a run, they may just be managing tires, managing fuel. We may not see a lead change as they feel out what their cars are capable of today at this race. At Texas Motor Speedway currently, it is a very overcast day. Weather is definitely going to be a large topic of discussion as the day rolls on. Addressed a few times actually has been the fact that we have inclement weather in the area. The race start was moved up by 15 minutes to attempt to circumvent any impact. However, this is definitely a situation both we in the commentary booth and the strategists on the pit wall will be monitoring. IndyCar rules dictate that if a race reaches halfway, they can officially call the race official and end it. However, um, everybody will be pushing as hard as they can once we hit that halfway in case inclement weather hits. However, the storms, I've seen some sources say that the storms may not reach the area until 3 or 4 p.m. Looking at the history of the race, that should not be a problem in the slightest, actually, as historically, this race barely runs over 2 hours in length. This race is only marginally longer than previous runnings. Last year's edition was 248 laps. This year's 250. However, last year's race was only 2 hours and 9 minutes. 2021 was a doubleheader with a race of an hour and 45 minutes and a race of 2 hours and 6 minutes. So even if the rain does not get here until mid-afternoon, provided we had an 11 a.m. start, we hopefully will wrap this up without any weather. During that, we've not seen much of a lead change or any major position changes. We've actually started to see the cars beginning to spread out. Joseph Newgarden has pulled out to 8/10 of a second lead over O'Ward. 8/10 of a second might not sound like much, but trust me, when you're flying around the high banks of Texas Motor Speedway at 220 plus miles an hour, that is going to be easily the distance of a sports stadium between the two of them. Almost equal distance between O'Ward and Palou. Dixon, Rosenquist, Rossi, fourth through sixth, still holding station. Not seeing much of a change throughout elsewhere. No one else is really pulling up to anybody else in our rookie battle that we will watch throughout the day. We currently have Benjamin Peterson still leading that. Last time we checked, he had been running just only ahead of Augustine Canapino. However, Ed Carpenter now sits between the two rookies. Stingray Robb still runs down in 24th. He'll be looking to make his way up to catch up with the other rookies today. Up front, it looks like Joseph Newgarden is starting to catch the back end of the field. He'll be looking to safely make his way around Christian Lundgaard, Connor Daly, and Jack Harvey shortly here, as the speed difference is looking quite dramatic as he closes up on these slower cars. With that, let's shoot. Okay. Joseph Newgarden continues to lead. Pato O'Ward second. That gap is actually starting to close up ever so slightly as they work lapped cars. Those lap cars are introducing a bit of a aerodynamic effect upon the race leaders. Of course, these Indy cars with their wings, very aero dependent machinery. If you introduce that downforce on one car, the trailing car behind will get what's referred to as aero wash, an instability essentially, where they can't quite get enough air on their front and rear wings to provide stability and grip. This will slow down the race leaders and tighten things up at the front as they start to battle against not just each other, but the lap cars and the instability that will plague their cars with that aero wash. However, it looks like Joseph Newgarden and Pato O'Ward are absolutely making the most of this as they begin to work their way through the back of the field. Joseph Newgarden still continues to lead. Pato O'Ward holding on at just under a second still. They are absolutely starting to gap the rest of the field. They have a near 3 second lead over Alex Palou in third and Scott Dixon in fourth. Alexander Rossi is now up to fifth, battling it out with Felix Rosenquist, but it looks like that is going to be Alexander Rossi's position. Up front, forward slightly, we now have Alex Palou running third, Scott Dixon taking over fourth position. Alex Palou actually having logged the fastest lap of the day, but only marginally by just a fraction of a thousand hundredth of a second, um, running a bit faster than his other competitors at the front. However, despite this, Newgarden and O'Ward continue to pull out. That is near almost a 4 second gap between Newgarden and Palou first and third. Pato O'Ward, of course, still in second, and Newgarden actually beginning to pull out a bit of a gap on O'Ward as well. Now sitting at about a second and a half between Newgarden and O'Ward. They have lapped much of the field. I'm sorry, not much of the field, much of the slowest point of the back markers, and are actually running in um, a clear part of the track here. They'll be able to put down some good lap times, pull out from the rest of the field still yet. Working lap 42 at this point. Graham Rahal just getting lapped. Him and his team really, really slow in qualifications. We'll be absolutely watching that, seeing if perhaps on the pit stops they can maybe make some kind of aerodynamic adjustment. Teams are allowed to change the angle of the wings on the pit stop. They can also change the tire pressures when moving to new sets of tires in the pit stops. Perhaps that will allow both Graham Rahal and his team the ability to move forward today. Still up front, though, that's Newgarden and O'Ward for second, beginning to gap the field yet even more. Looking back outside the top 10, Newgarden actually has over a 10-second lead over Rosenquist in sixth, now pulling that out to 11. The top five are covered only by 10 seconds. The field really starting to get spread out here, but O'Ward holding tight, only just over a second behind Newgarden. That's going to be a fun battle to watch today. Alex Palou, if he can catch up, putting down the fastest lap, we will absolutely see some good battles there. Further back and down the top 10, we're having a bit of a battle between Roman Grosjean and Will Power. Grosjean trying to make that pass before, but running wide. Looks like Grosjean is actually able to get him into turn one while lapping work 46. That is now Grosjean in seventh and Will Power eighth. That is now, sorry, aside from the aside from that up front, it looks like now O'Ward is closing up on Newgarden more, just a second between them, and now 5 seconds back to Alex Palou in third. It looks like Will Power is actually starting to drop. I'm not wondering if something's wrong with that car. He is moving backwards very quickly. Does he have damage perhaps? He is beginning to drop like a stone well outside of the top 10 now. Cars literally passing him left and right, losing so much speed. And we have a spin. It's a Juncos Hollinger car into the inside wall. Not a hard hit, but enough to damage the delicate front wings. And please pardon my misidentification. That was not a Juncos Hollinger vehicle. That was actually Chip Ganassi Racing's Takuma Sato into the wall. The front right has a very severe bend on the suspension work there. I am afraid Takuma Sato is out of this race. Obviously, we are now under a full course yellow, a safety car here, as that car is stopped. Uh, Safety vehicle being dispatched. It looks like it was only a hard enough hit to damage the suspension on the front. Takuma will likely be okay here, although we will, of course, wait for official confirmation. Race has slowed at this point. Takuma climbing out of the car. Um, yeah, Taku looks good here. He's okay. Cannot say the same for the car. So this actually, looking at the replay here, folks, this is directly related to Will Power and how slow he was running. Before we were talking about Will Power, just it seemed like he essentially had a parachute behind him almost. He was dropping so many positions right down outside of the top 10 from where he was running before. And then Takuma Sato had to check up and make a rather dramatic move to try and evade the slow Team Penske car of Will Power. In doing so, it looks like he ran very wide trying to get out around him at the exit of turn two, running into the wall. With that, folks, we will pause momentarily while we take a quick break here. We will be back in just 30 seconds. Welcome back, race fans, to the Expel 375 from Texas Motor Speedway. This is IndyCar's second race of the 2023 season and first time on an oval race. First race was nearly a month ago on the streets of St. Petersburg, but today we're going oval racing in the Lone Star State. Currently, we are under yellow with Joseph Newgarden leading, Pato Award second, and Alex Palou in third. Rounding out the top five, we have Scott Dixon and Felix Rosenquist. And being under yellow, we will likely see a shakeup as some teams will elect to take a pit stop shortly here. We're currently working, albeit under yellow, lap 52 of 250. 375-mile race. We we would expect the tires and fuel to perhaps last about this far. However, there are going to be some strategy differences that we will see worked throughout the day. Um, the fuel will technically allow the drivers to work a bit farther than we've seen in race distance so far. Think perhaps lap 60-ish, mid 60s or so. However, even as we're already seeing today, the tires will go away and take a lot of speed out of the cars as they try and fight for grip around this slippery mile-and-a-half super speedway. It looks like over break we had pit stops, and in that we actually did have some contact between a McLaren and one of the no between the Kyle Kirkwood, the number 27 Andretti Autosport, sponsored by AutoNation. Kyle Kirkwood was coming into his pit stop and was hit by a Arrow McLaren. Not quite sure on which of the three cars that was that hit. However, we are definitely seeing some damage to the front end there. It looks like that was most likely Alexander Rossi, that car coming around again for repairs and a front nose change. Yes, indeed, we have confirmation that is indeed Alexander Rossi. He will unfortunately be losing quite a few laps actually as repairs are worked to his car due to that unfortunate contact. With the pit stops worked and out of the way, that is still Joseph Newgarden up front, Pato Award second, Alex Palou third. Chip Ganassi, Scott Dixon is running fourth. Teammate two, Rossi, Felix Rosenquist, fifth. Roman Grosjean, sixth, having passed Will Power, who is encountering some kind of issues here. Colton Herta for Andretti Autosport is running seventh. Scott McLaughlin, eighth. Marcus Ericsson in ninth, and Devlin DeFrancesco for Andretti Autosport rounding out the top 10. Before the caution, we were seeing Will Power dropping like a stone, essentially. Will Power, something likely wrong with that car, trying to figure out what exactly is going on there, fighting around 8th position, but began to drop suddenly well outside the top 10. However, Penske perfection in the pits has allowed him to pick up positions, and he will be restarting 12th today once we get rolling again. Beyond him, we have Callum Eilert currently running 13th, Santino Ferrucci 14th, and the quickest of the rookies, Benjamin Peterson, in 15th. Simon Pagenaud for Meyershank Racing is 16th. Ed Carpenter Racing's Renus VK is 17th. And Ed Carpenter in his very own car, the only owner driver in the field today, running 18th. Second rookie in the field, Agustin Canapino, runs 19th. Elio Castroneves, 20th. 21st, and Radio Autosport's Kyle Kirkwood. He looks to be largely unscathed, although heavily delayed by that contact in the pits. And the last of the rookies, Stingray Robb, for Dalecoin Racing in 22nd. Rounding out the last cars on the lead lap, we have Jack Harvey running 23rd, Connor Daly 24th, and Christian Lundgaard in 25th. Graham Rahal is a lap down. Alexander Rossi is several laps down at this point as they still work repairs to his car down in 27th. And Takuma Sato is the only retirement in the race thus far, being the reason for the caution. Takuma Sato had to evade Will Power, who was slowing quite substantially earlier, ran out wide into the wall, smacking it, and unfortunately bending elements of his front suspension and braking elements of the front suspension there as well. With that, Takuma Sato's Chip Ganassi number 11 car is out of the race. Um, but we will see how the rest of this goes for everybody else once we restart. Restart should be coming up shortly here, folks. Running lap 58 of 250. Race has been running for almost a good half hour, just coming up on that, actually. However, we will see how the green flag plays out once we restart. It looks like right now, expected participants for the battling it out for the lead will likely be the top four of Joseph Newgarden, Pato Award, Alex Palou, and Scott Dixon. However, I would definitely be on the lookout for Scott McLaughlin running eighth. He, although comes from a background of Australian V8 supercar style racing, he has shown brilliance in IndyCar, having won 3 races, claimed 3 pole positions in his brief IndyCar career, having raced in the series since 2020. I would also be on the lookout for Will Power if they can fix whatever is plaguing him and his number 12 Penske vehicle running in 12th. It could absolutely make up some ground there. With that, we're going to take another short break here, and then we will be right back for the rest of the race. Welcome back, race fans, and we are just in time to restart the action for the Expel 375 from Texas Motor Speedway. Joseph Newgarden leading them to green, Pato Award running second, or about to restart in second. Let's see how this shakes out. Coming out of turn 4, Newgarden on the throttle. It looks like we got Roman Grosjean already trying to make up positions in the back as he is working the back of the first Aero McLaren of Felix Rosenquist. Oh, already up ahead. We see Alex Palou getting around Pato Award to take second, and Alex Palou working Joseph Newgarden around the outside into turn 3, taking the lead momentarily, but Newgarden's not giving that up. Newgarden's holding tight on the bottom. Palou running on the high side. We've got Award right behind them, ready to pounce if either of them make a mistake. Still, side by side, Newgarden ahead only marginally as they run into turns 1 and 2. Newgarden holding tight on the bottom, but my God, Alex Palou has got quite a run out of turn 2, barreling down the back straight. Still, side by side, you would expect them to to be racing like this on the last lap, not lap 62 of 250. Palou has now slotted in right behind Newgarden at the start finish line. Woo, he's going again for the pass around the outside into 1 and 2. Can he get him this time? Side by side on the back straight. O'Ward's fallen back a bit. Oh, Palou had a nose. However, it looks like Newgarden is pulling ahead now between those two. Palou slotting in right behind Newgarden, but just using that draft to pull on ahead. Right behind, we have Scott Dixon on the scene, putting his nose right under O'Ward, trying to get third. O'Ward isn't going to let that happen and holds on to third. And now we have Roman Grosjean on the scene, pulling up behind Scott Dixon. Grosjean running fifth, but trying to move up into fourth, working Dixon. Woo, what an exciting restart. Up front, it's still Newgarden. Palou is not trying to pass him yet, but we do have Scott Dixon trying to get around O'Ward still. O'Ward running a slightly higher line, able to get a better run out of turn 1 and 2, holding on to that. But now we have Grosjean yet again working the back of Scott Dixon for fourth. Grosjean on a charge, started further down the order. Here he is in the top five, on the heels of the top four, top three, and up front, Palou gets Newgarden for the lead. Wow. Yep, he's gotten that with authority out of 1 and 2. Is Newgarden going to get that back from him, though? Moving back, let's watch Dixon and Grosjean. Dixon leading Grosjean, but a little bit squirrely out of 3 and 4. Looks like Grosjean maybe has a run on Dixon. Let's see. Moving back up to the front. Looks like Newgarden around the outside of Palou, exiting turn 2, got the lead, taking a really, really wide line, but woo, Palou's holding on to it, dives into turns 3 and 4, pulls out quite a bit. O'Ward still in the middle of all of this, holding on nice in third. Grosjean has gotten Dixon, and Grosjean is actually now working O'Ward for third, side by side through 1 and 2. O'Ward on the outside, Grosjean on the inside. Up front, Newgarden has taken the lead from Palou with authority, leading by over a third of a second. O'Ward able to win that battle against Grosjean, holding on to third, coming out of four. They amazingly, no one is side by side this time. Newgarden leading, Palou second, O'Ward third, Grosjean fourth, and Dixon fifth. Farther back, however, in sixth and seventh, we're having a bit of a battle between Colton Herta and Scott McLaughlin. Colton Herta is winning out here, taking sixth position from Scott McLaughlin. But again, as I was saying right before the restart, Scott McLaughlin will be a name to watch. McLaughlin now settling in right behind Herta. We have yet again another scrap for the lead up front. Newgarden and Palou side by side. Both of these very talented drivers want to lead this race. We've got Newgarden on the inside, Alex Palou on the outside. Alex Palou now sneaking in right underneath Newgarden, and Pato O'Ward on the scene trying to get that lead as well. As they now work lap 71, they're actually starting to even out a little bit. Newgarden leading 3/10 to Palou, and then just a couple of tenths to O'Ward. Grosjean still holding tight in fourth. Scott Dixon running fifth. Young Colton Herta for Andretti Autosport currently running sixth, having recently taken that position from Scott McLaughlin, who runs seventh. Let's not forget about Pato O'Ward's Arrow McLaren teammate of Felix Rosenqvist. He's lost some positions on that restart, but he is up to eighth. David Malukas is now currently running ninth for Dale Coyne Racing, and Callum Ilott making up quite a bit of good ground on that restart, actually, for Juncos Hollinger Racing, now rounding out the top 10. I think we're starting to get to that stage, folks, where the initial grip of the tire has kind of worn down. We're not seeing as many crazy moves as we did at the very start of this. Beginning to work lap 74 here now. Starting to really get a bit spread out. We see a lot of people running the very low line. However, Pato O'Ward is not done fighting. Pato O'Ward is actually taking a mildly higher line, trying to get a run on Alex Palou. O'Ward is hungry. He is working that higher line, looking not quite side by side with Palou, but ready to make a pass. He's got to run into turn three, diving into the inside of Palou. Palou lifting, it looks like, giving him room. Award taking the position at the line. Oh gosh, what a battle today here, folks. With that, let's pause very briefly for a 30-second break. We will be back. Welcome back, race fans. We are now working lap 79 of 250 of the Expel 375 from Texas Motor Speedway. Joseph Newgarden is still your race leader. Currently, we have Pato O'Ward running second and Roman Grosjean running third. It's been a dramatic race here today, especially at the start of the race and after the restart witnessed only moments ago. We've only had one caution today. That was for Takuma Sato, smacking the wall, trying to evade a really slow Will Power. Will Power perhaps having some kind of technical problems with his car. Will Power had been running very well inside the top 10, and then suddenly, seemingly, was losing power. It was as if he had a proverbial parachute attached to the back of his car, causing issues of sorts for him to lose speed. In his slower speed state, Takuma Sato had to swing out quite wide, hit the wall, and broke the suspension of his vehicle, rendering him retired from this race. Takuma Sato is your only retirement in this race. However, Alexander Rossi did experience contact with Kyle Kirkwood in the pits earlier in the race. With that contact, Alexander Rossi spent several laps in the pits getting his front wing repaired from said contact and currently sits 6 laps down. Everybody else currently runs on the lead lap with the exception of Graham Rahal. He is only 1 lap off the pace. However, it looks like we may see the leaders start to put cars a lap down yet again as we move on from this recent restart. Newgarden still leads with authority over O'Ward. However, O'Ward is absolutely challenging that authority as he closes in on him less than 2 seconds or 2/10 of a second behind Newgarden. Award really searching different lines of this track, looking to find different grip areas of grip, find areas of speed to try and carry that car to the front. Behind him, we have Andretti Autosport's Roman Grosjean running third. Scott Dixon for Chip Ganassi Racing running fourth, and Dixon's teammate Alex Palou running fifth. Andretti Autosport teammate to Grosjean, Colton Herta runs sixth, and Scott McLaughlin, Newgarden's Team Penske teammate, runs seventh. Pato Awards, Arrow McLaren teammate Felix Rosenquist runs eighth. David Malukas for Dale Coyne Racing runs ninth, and Callum Ilott for Uncos Hollinger Racing runs 10th. With all of that, let's take a quick look at the rookie battles going on here in the field. We have Agustin Canapino, teammate to Callum Ilott for Juncos Hollinger Racing, running 14th. And then we have Benjamin Peterson, second of the rookies, running 17th for AJ Foyt Racing in his number 55 Chevrolet. And the in the number 51 Dale Coyne Racing Honda IndyCar, we have Stingray Robb running 20th, third of the last rookies. Meanwhile, it looks like Newgarden is beginning to pull away from O'Ward. We're absolutely starting to settle into a rhythm up at the front here, folks. Will Power has absolutely been a car to watch, but for all the wrong reasons today. He has been slowing and continues to slow further. Originally running seventh or eighth before the first caution, made up some ground in the ensuing pit stops. However, after the restart, he continues to drop. Now running 23rd, second to last car on the lead lap behind Jack Harvey. Connor Daly has now been put a full lap down by Newgarden. The leaders of Newgarden, O'Ward, and Grosjean are starting to catch the slower cars as we have moved on quite a ways from this restart. We will see them now start to navigate lapped cars. The lap cars will tighten up the competition at the front, and this will lead to perhaps some tighter battles as we see the drivers, not just the leaders, not just battling amongst themselves, but also the lapped cars they are passing and the lack of grip brought on by the aero wash of those lapped vehicles. Right now, it looks like Callum Ilott may be a bit off the pace, perhaps. We will monitor that. Still running 10th, however, quite a few miles per hour slower than the rest of the field. Uh, it looks like actually had a bit of a glitch there with timing. Callum Ilott dropping substantially. No, not substantially. He's lost a position down to 11th. It looks like Devlin DeFrancesco now occupies 10th, having taken that position from Ilott. Meanwhile, up front, it looks like O'Ward is now getting left behind by Joseph Newgarden, somewhat so. However, we are seeing Newgarden making short work of dispatching these lapped vehicles, typically going around the outside, trying to put them behind him as he moves on with his march to claim this race and the victory. Let's take a quick rundown of the field thus far as we are now working lap 95 of 250. Joseph Newgarden, of course, your race leader. Pato O'Ward for Arrow McLaren in second. Roman Grosjean for Andretti Autosport third. Scott Dixon fourth. His Chip Ganassi teammate Alex Palou runs fifth. And then Colton Herta, fastest of the Andretti Autosport drivers, sits sixth. Scott McLaughlin, the other Team Penske challenger, runs seventh. David Malukas for Dale Coyne Racing runs eighth. Felix Rosenquist for Arrow McLaren is running ninth, with Devlin DeFrancesco 10th. Callum Ilott holding station in 11th despite a scare of loss of pace. Santino Ferrucci for AJ Foyt Racing Enterprises in 12th position. Marcus Ericsson racing for Chip Ganassi Racing is 13th. Augustine Canapino, your highest placed rookie for Juncos Hollinger Racing, runs 14th. Renus VK for Ed Carpenter Racing, 15th. Ed Carpenter, team owner himself, the only owner driver in the field, runs 16th. Benjamin Peterson, the second place rookie, runs 17th for AJ Foyt Racing. Stingray Robb, third place rookie, hot on his heels, trying to make up ground in 18th. We've seen Stingray Robb sitting marginally farther back compared to his rookie competitors. Have they made a change on the recent pit stop? Perhaps. It looks like he's putting on a charge. We'll see if he can challenge the other rookies. Moving on from Stingray Robb from 18th, we've got the two Meyer Shank cars, the 06 of Elio Castroneves in 19th, and his teammate Simon Pagenaud in the 60 car in 20th. Christian Lundgaard, first of the Rahal Letterman Lanigan vehicles, in 21st. That team has been slow all weekend. Will they find success? Time is running out. Jack Harvey, his teammate, 22nd. Ed Carpenter car, Connor Daly, 23rd. Will Power, now down in 24th. Wow, he cannot catch a break. Graham Rahal, 25th. Kyle Kirkwood in the pits currently, running 26th, and Alexander Rossi running 27th, several laps down. Takuma Sato, of course, the only retirement thus far today, um, having hit the wall trying to evade Will Power as Will Power was slow on the track. Let's do a quick report of who is actually on the lead lap and who is not. Right now, that is the top 17. Beyond them, much of the competition has been dispatched by race leader Joseph Newgarden. However, we see some drivers actually making the dive to pit lane, perhaps trying to get a jump on their competition by taking fresher tires. We've seen Simon Pagenaud in the pits. Um, we've also seen Kyle Kirkwood in the pits recently, but I'm not wondering actually if Kyle Kirkwood being in the pits has more to do with damage sustained from his contact with Alexander Rossi in the pits from the last round of pit stops. Kyle Kirkwood, he's been having a relatively long pit stop, actually. Timing is showing him as just being stationary in the pits. I'm, yeah, I'm afraid Kyle Kirkwood did sustain damage. Yeah, we're actually getting pictures now. Kyle Kirkwood is out of the car. Um, I believe this is a full-fledged retirement. The vehicle is still sitting next to the pit wall. Mechanics are working it. We see several members of Andretti Autosport. Yeah, helmet is coming off of Kyle Kirkwood. This car is done, unfortunately. He is now our second retirement next to Takuma Sato. So unfortunate for them. At the front, though, we have Newgarden making passing lap cars look easy as he is now working one of the Ed Carpenter cars. I believe that would be Will. No, okay, no, he is making lapping these lap cars look easy. That would have been Connor Daly. Um, Passing them left and right, putting numerous competitors a lap down. The more cars he puts a lap down, that's less people he'll have to worry about challenging for at the end of the race. Speaking of end of the race, we are still quite a ways away from that. Lap 107 of 250 currently. Um, Earlier in the race, we talked a bit about the concern of weather and storms in the area. The race start was moved up due to this. However, it looks like at this point, that should be largely a non-issue. To that point, though, we will indeed be checking our sources just to ensure we don't have any problems. But yeah, we should be good to complete this race with the green without intervention of weather. Now, I'm sure that I've said this, commentators curse and whatnot. We're going to have some we're going to have some issue with that, but we will wait and see. Up front, of course, that's Newgarden still leading, and it looks like we are actually starting to see some race leaders start to make green flag pit stops. Scott McLaughlin, the first of these, pitting from just within the top 10. Typically, in these types of competition, when we see one, the rest will try and follow to catch up. And sure enough, Joseph Newgarden pits from the lead, now allowing Pato O'Ward to lead the race. This will be interesting to see how this works out. Who has fresher tires, who can get those tires up to speed. Scott McLaughlin away with a really quick pit stop. Newgarden now stopped, refueling the car, getting the tires swapped out, and he is rolling again. Penske perfection as always. Fast stop, no problems. Leaving the track, he will rejoin. Up front, although we are in the middle of the pit stops, we do have O'Ward running first, Roman Grosjean running second, and Scott Dixon third. The Penske's, interestingly enough, were the very first to dive to the pits. We're not seeing many other takers right now. Does Team Penske perhaps know something that no one else does at this point? Is this going to lead to some kind of advantage? And we are now seeing the other takers come down. Roman Grosjean on the pits. It looks like there is some contention as if O'Ward is making a mistake staying out this long. We're seeing a lot of other cars diving in now. Ilott, Ericsson, Ed Carpenter, of course, Grosjean just drove down. Um, a lot of these drivers away now as they pull out. Pato O'Ward continuing to stay on the track and lead the race despite several cars now pitting. Currently, we have O'Ward leading. Scott Dixon is also electing to stay out, as is Alex Palou and Colton Herta. David Malukas has stayed out yet still running fifth, but we see Palou in the pits now, and O'Ward is also slowing to enter the pits. These green flag pit stops are always dramatic. This is going to shuffle up the running order dramatically. We're going to have a lot of factors at play here. Who can slow down the quickest entering the pits? It's always a very low grip situation entering down off the track. Low grip rejoining as well after the pit stop. Who has the fastest team? O'Ward's car currently being worked. Fresh tires, of course, new fuel. Everybody's going to be taking new tires. Everybody's going to be topping off on that fuel. Not much of a reason to do otherwise. Scott Dixon as well is away. Colton Herta getting his tires worked as well. It looks like David Malukas and Felix Rosenquist and rookie Benjamin Peterson are still yet to make a pit stop. However, we have Malukas in the pits. Felix Rosenquist is yet to make a stop, it appears as well, although I would imagine we're going to see him come down really soon. We'll see how this sorts out, but I'm expecting Newgarden to actually have a monster lead compared to everybody, as he will have had substantially fresher tires than everybody else from pitting so early. We'll see how this works for Pato O'Ward as well. Unfortunately, the expectation would be due to him pitting later, he will have lost a substantial amount of time having stayed out for so long. But maybe this will come back and help him later. His teammate, Felix Rosenquist, is currently being worked in the pits and now is away. Shockingly, Stingray Robb, the rookie for Dalecoin Racing, is leading as he is going way off strategy, going substantially farther than everybody else. However, we see him finally come into the pits. Um, I think here the strategy, folks, will be you can pit early and make up a lot of ground now, but you're going to hurt yourself later on in the races. You'll need to stop early, obviously. However, we'll see how this works as the race unfolds. Looks like we're starting to get a bit of a read on how exactly this worked for a lot of people. And yep, this was quite shuffled up. We've seen a lot of people gain time, lose time. Joseph Newgarden was able to make pitting early work, pardon me, work very well to his advantage. That early pit stop actually warranted him almost a full 2.5 second lead over Pato O'Ward, who now sits second. Roman Grosjean, a shocking 7 seconds behind Newgarden. A bit of a difference, and you can see how these cars are entering and leaving the pits and how the teams are quick or not quick to service the cars. But yes, we have Grosjean running third, Scott Dixon fourth, 9 seconds back from Newgarden. Right behind him, almost exactly, is Alex Palou in fifth. Scott McLaughlin pitting around the same time as Newgarden, 14 seconds back in sixth, leading a train of cars of Colton Herta, David Malukas. Further back than him, we have VK for Ed Carpenter Racing running ninth, and Marcus Ericsson 10th in your top 10. With this in mind, it is very important to note that this set of cautions has strung out the field substantially to the point where we actually now only have the top nine on the lead lap. Everybody else is at least one lap down or further. Um, we will see, however, perhaps some teams playing the long game, some teams losing that lap, perhaps from staying out longer. However, that will allow them to run further into this race. Perhaps not burning as much fuel or beating up their tires as much. They may be able to get their lap back simply by not pitting and yeah, making up time by spending less time in the pits. Again, one of the amazing things about this race, but that will really only work if the race goes green. With that in mind, we are now at halfway, lap 125 of 250. And with that, we are actually seeing Joseph Newgarden's lead begin to falter. Um, After that round of pit stops, we saw Newgarden with a 2.5 second lead over Pato O'Ward, which is monstrous here, given the fact that they're lapping at just about 220 miles an hour. But we're now seeing Pato O'Ward within just a half a second of Newgarden. Will we see a lead change, folks? Perhaps. We're going to take a quick 30-second break, and we'll report on all the action when we return. Welcome back, race fans, to the Expel or PPG 375. Expel sponsored this last year. Pardon my confusion. Um, Joseph Newgarden still leads. However, Pato O'Ward is right behind him. Will we see a lead change shortly here? It actually looks like we actually are getting that lead change here. I think Pato O'Ward is, yes, Pato O'Ward has taken the lead from Joseph Newgarden. All right, Pato O'Ward is your race leader as we return from break with Joseph Newgarden. In second, Roman Grosjean still holding on to third for Andretti Autosport. Scott Dixon, your highest placed Chip Ganassi car, in fourth. And Alex Palou, his teammate, running fifth. As reported before the break, we are seeing fewer and fewer and fewer cars um, on the lead lap. We are now down to 8, and it looks like we're actually seeing Newgarden come back out of O'Ward. Newgarden holding on the underside. O'Ward, nope. O'Ward taking the high line and shutting that down. O'Ward with authority, claiming that lead. Newgarden, of course, is not going to go quietly here. Newgarden, your defending race winner and multi-time champion, sucking up right behind O'Ward, going around the outside, quite a bit of a pull into turn one, but he's not able to make that high side work, loses a lot of speed, and O'Ward keeps the lead. They are beginning to pull out quite a bit on Roman Grosjean, who sits about 7 seconds back compared to these two. It looks like it's going to be the O'Ward and Newgarden show today here as Newgarden tries to go around the outside again. Newgarden cannot make that outside line work. He gets up there, seems to lose speed, and O'Ward just pulls away. Perhaps next time around, we'll see Newgarden try the inside line or something different. He definitely has the speed to at least hold on to O'Ward, and he wants that lead. You can see Joseph Newgarden is hungry. Pato O'Ward, however, has the stability. He's holding on to that, and he is leading. Coming up on lapped cars, it looks like they're going to be putting perhaps David Malukas, who's running 8th, a lap down next, only shrinking further the number of cars on the lead lap. Interesting dynamic here we're seeing. Very spread out throughout the entire field with cars laps down and some giant gaps between competitors. However, a scrapping fight between the leaders so far throughout the race. And O'Ward very delicately putting David Malukas a lap down. racing him almost like it's for the race lead. Malukas not going easy, but eventually relenting. David Malukas, of course, runs 8th for Dale Coyne Racing. With this, that now puts us with 7 cars on the lead lap. Let's do a quick rundown on that as well as their gaps. We've got for Arrow McLaren Racing, Pato Award leading the race. For Team Penske, we've got Joseph Newgarden running second, about a second behind, both cars Chevrolet powered. Then we've got Honda powered Roman Grosjean for Andretti Autosport, now a whopping 8 seconds behind them. I think he is out of the picture, at least in the short term here. We've got Scott Dixon sitting in 12th for Chip Ganassi Racing. We have him 4th, 12 seconds behind them, the race leaders, that is. I would not count Dixon out as even though he is this far back. Known as the Iceman, Dixon is known to wait and pounce when needed. So perhaps he's saving his equipment for the final run to the green. During that report, actually, it looks like we have a position change between him and Alex Palou. Alex Palou, his Chip Ganassi teammate, now runs 4th. Dixon runs 5th. Teammate 2, Roman Grosjean, Colton Herta for Andretti Autosport runs 6th. And then Scott McLaughlin, teammate 2, Joseph Newgarden, in his Chevy-powered Team Penske vehicle, runs 7th, 20 laps behind. None of these top 7, it looks like, will be challenging for the lead anytime soon other than Newgarden. But again, we saw how much of a dramatic change we got in that last round of pit stops, the pendulum swinging insanely throughout the field. Will we see something like that soon again? Very likely. We still have quite a few laps to go before the next round of pit stops, but Texas Motor Speedway, the race itself seems to swing like a pendulum as well. Sometimes you have these crazy battles for position on track. Kind of looks almost like a sprint car race. Other times, you see this as more of a Grand Prix style race where tire management, fuel management, and strategy of that variety comes into play. It looks like today we're actually seeing a very healthy balance of both of these types of racing. Obviously, managing tires and when to pit, a huge factor, but additionally, that only really gets you where you need to be on the track. When it comes down to it, these drivers are needing to really put their foot down with authority to make up where they run. With that, it looks like we are now sitting in a place with only 5 cars on the lead lap. Given as we've addressed the top 7, let's talk about the rest of the running order. We've got David Malukas running 8th for Dale Coyne Racing, Felix Rosenquist for Arrow McLaren running 9th, Marcus Ericsson for Chip Ganassi Racing 10th, Renus VK for Ed Carpenter Racing in 11th, Devlin DeFrancesco for Andretti Autosport in 12th, Ed Carpenter, team owner for Ed Carpenter Racing and driver, for 13th, Santino Ferrucci running 14th, Agustin Canapino, the highest running rookie for Juncos Hollinger, in 15th. He is leading his teammate Callum Ilott from 16th. And Will Power struggling much of the race, but looking to finally figure out whatever was going on with that car. He's made up some ground to 17th. Elio Castroneves from Meyer Shank Racing sits 18th. Stingray Robb, second place rookie, in 19th. However, third place rookie in 20th, Benjamin Peterson for AJ Foyt Racing, is right behind him in 20th. We'll see if we'll see a position change between them. Simon Pagenaud for Meyer Shank Racing sits 21st. Christian Lundgaard is running 22nd for Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing. Connor Daly for Ed Carpenter Racing sits 23rd. Jack Harvey for Rahal Letterman Lanigan as well sits 24th. And his teammate, Graham Rahal, son of Bobby Rahal, team owner, 25th. Alexander Rossi is the last car running, 7 laps down. He, of course, had to make a very, very, very long pit stop to repair damage sustained in contact with Kyle Kirkwood. which, speaking of Kyle Kirkwood is our second retirement of the day. Currently scored 27th with Takuma Sato. Our first retirement scored 28th, having unfortunately gotten into the wall and bringing out our first and only caution of the day. With that, up front, it looks like O'Ward is leading with authority. That is now a 5-second lead over Joseph Newgarden. However, as we approach midpoint in this run with the tires, this will be interesting to see how this plays out in the next couple of laps. Many times at Texas, we've seen drivers absolutely lay down blistering pace. However, that blistering pace comes at a cost with burning up fuel early and overheating the tires. Will he see the pendulum swing back to Joseph Newgarden? Is Joseph Newgarden simply holding out his equipment? Will he be able to pull that in? Let's see how this plays out. Further back from them still is Roman Grosjean, now almost 18 seconds behind O'Ward, Scott Dixon, and Alex Palou, 22 seconds back in fourth and fifth. They do lap at about that speed, actually. So we are going to probably see Palou and Dixon put a lap down here momentarily by race leader Pato O'Ward. Update on that rookie running order. It looks like we still have, actually no, Augustine Canapino has made a off-sequence pit stop. They could be backtracking from the end of the race. We know they can run 50 laps easily from that first stint. Are we seeing Augustine Canapino perhaps make his second to last pit stop of the race, or is something wrong with that car? We'll get that figured out and get back to you. That actually has shaken up the rookie running order. We now have Stingray Robb leading the rookie battle for Dale Coyne Racing in 18th, with Benjamin Peterson for AJ Foyt running 19th. There is less than a second between those two, so we could see a position change. However, at this point in the race, we actually really could see not much of a change there, as this far into the race, their tires could be burnt up. Not much grip may exist. And really, that is kind of why we're seeing so many cars get spread out as they are. Some teams, such as Arrow McLaren's Pato O'Ward, they're managing their tires so much better than everybody else. Hence why most of the field is at least a lap, if not two, and in some cases, actually 3 laps down. Going to take a very short break, but we will continue with the action when we return. Hello and welcome back, race fans, to the PPG 375 at Texas Motor Speedway, IndyCar's second race of the year. Over break, we haven't seen much of a change at the front. If anything, Pato O'Ward continues to dominate, now pulling out what was before a 5-second lead to a 7-second lead over Joseph Newgarden. Whatever change they made to that car on the last pit stop is working phenomenally well. Not only is he pulling out this much of a lead, but he is also marginally I should say marginally, by a wide margin, much faster than his competition up front, having logged the fastest lap of the race. At this point now, only 3 cars sit on the lead lap. Pato O'Ward Joseph Newgarden and Roman Grosjean. Roman Grosjean, however, sits about 24 seconds behind O'Ward, which that is, again, about how fast they run around here. So we will probably actually see a change to just two cars on the lead lap. While the focus has been on Pato O'Ward, let's just do a quick update on his Arrow McLaren teammates. Of course, Arrow McLaren, now a three-car team this season, expanding to make room for Alexander Rossi, who has previously ran for Andretti Autosport. Alexander Rossi, not been having the best of days. The last car running, 7 laps off the lead, down in 26th. He got into Kyle Kirkwood in the pits, actually, unfortunately, sustaining damage to his car that warranted a very, very lengthy amount of time in the pits to get everything repaired and in running order. However, he's running once more, but again, last car running, 7 laps down, and that's that. Up front, we actually have Pato O'Ward putting Roman Grosjean a lap down while lapping yet another car. O'Ward may be leading by 8 seconds over Newgarden, but that's he's still hungry to lead with authority now. Continues to lap cars as if he's trying to make up positions. O'Ward's flying. Looks like Joseph Newgarden, or the Penske's in general, actually, are trying their early pit stop methodology again. We have Scott McLaughlin into the pits. Following him, actually, is David Malukas. I would expect to see Joseph Newgarden in the pits very momentarily here, as both the Penske's did follow each other very, very closely here. Scott McLaughlin is away, and yes, we do indeed have Newgarden in the pits. Last time he was able to pull out quite the lead on O'Ward. This time, perhaps, are we going to see him close in? O'Ward looks to be emulating what he did last time and staying out. O'Ward has now been 51 laps since O'Ward last pit. I believe the last go of it, O'Ward stayed out for a good 63, no, not that far, 60 laps or so. So it may be a bit before we see Pato O'Ward within the pits. However, with Joseph Newgarden having made his pit stop, we're actually in a very bizarre situation where Pato O'Ward is literally the only competitor on the lead lap. Everybody else is either 1 lap or more down on Pato O'Ward. Truly a dominant run from the young Mexican today. Truly championship material. With that, we're seeing other cars follow onto the pits. We currently have Marcus Ericsson for Chip Ganassi Racing and Jack Harvey for Ed Carpenter Racing. With them, rookie Stingray Robb for Dale Coyne Racing and Elio Castroneves for Meyer Shank are also in the pits. Bit of different strategies here, as we have a relatively wide pit window of when people elect to come in. Roman Grosjean as well, coming into the pits for his stop. Pato O'Ward still staying out despite his competition staying out much earlier. And I stand very corrected. Pato O'Ward has now come into the pits. Let's see where he comes out in relation to his Penske competition of Joseph Newgarden. With O'Ward in the pits, this should be Alex Palou assuming the race lead unless he's following them in. Always a bit of a confusing time in the IndyCar series in the pit stops, especially at such a high-speed super speedway like Texas Motor Speedway. O'Ward is currently leaving the pits, and actually, no, because he had a full lap lead upon his competition, up to this point, he has assumed the lead still. However, as he is leaving the pits and on slow tires, we now have a lead change with Felix Rosenqvist, his teammate, taking the lead. It looks like O'Ward is still getting up to speed, and despite their different attacks, he still leads by quite a bit over Newgarden. Um, Timing is glitching out ever so slightly at this. Cannot quite tell what the margin is at this point. However, I can say with certainty, Joseph Newgarden is going to have tires that are up to speed as he's been running on those fresh tires for longer. Pato O'Ward, of course, only just coming out, so he will need to warm those tires up to mount an attack. So we will see, but judging by the lead of which Pato O'Ward had, I'm guessing this will still be Pato O'Ward with the lead. His teammate Felix Rosenqvist continues to lead, still yet to make his pit stop, but it looks like outside of that, much of the competition has cycled through their stops. Where when Rosenqvist eventually elects to stop, that will be Pato O'Ward leading, and yes, here comes Rosenqvist down the pits. O'Ward has now taken over as race leader, with Joseph Newgarden having indeed closed up that gap. That gap is now at 5 seconds. Now, how will this play out after these pit stops? Has Team Penske found a way to make their driver Joseph Newgarden faster? Have they made any changes? Have they given him tools to get and catch Pato O'Ward? Well, we'll see. Um, 5 seconds, that gap seems to be holding steady. Again, those are the only two cars on the lead lap. Previously, it was Roman Grosjean who occupied third, but it seems like now that we've cycled through the pits, Alex Palou, through strategy, has actually managed to jump Grosjean and is taking third. With Roman Grosjean running fourth, that's Scott Dixon back in fifth. Still still a contender here, perhaps. We are running lap 178 of 250. We have 70 laps left, so this could, I don't know. Scott Dixon's running out of time. He's got to, if he's saving to mount a charge later, now's the time to put the hammer down and get after it. It actually looks like we are under caution. We do not have pictures yet, so we can't say for sure what has caused this. But second caution of the day, going to try and get some information on this to ascertain what has happened. And it sounds like, unfortunately, it's actually Felix Rosenqvist into the wall. Pato O'Ward's McLaren teammate. Not a good day for a McLaren fan outside of Pato O'Ward. First, we had Alexander Rossi making contact with Kyle Kirkwood, and now it's Felix Rosenqvist into the wall. Hopefully, uh, knocking on wood here to hopefully alleviate commentator's curse. Pato O'Ward is not running into issues, but we will see. With this, that running order otherwise has not shaken up too much with that yellow flag coming out. Pato O'Ward leads, Joseph Newgarden second, Alex Palou third, Roman Grosjean fourth, and Scott Dixon fifth. We now have completed lap 180 of 250 with 70 to go. 70 may sound like a substantial number, but I assure you at this track, once we get cleaned up from this caution, this is going to go by in a heartbeat. So strap in, crack open a cold one, and enjoy, because with how crazy these restarts have been, with 70 to go, the pressure is going to be on. Um, The other interesting angle to look out for once we restart here, we've seen drivers run about 60, I think some people stretched it to almost 63 laps when they were saving fuel and tires. If we're sitting at 70 and the yellow comes out now, who's going to pit now and try and save who's going to try and save like mad to try and make it to the end? We did just have a cycle of pit stops. However, um, I can absolutely see some people trying to dive in and go for that strategy call to get to the end. We will monitor the situation, but now we have pictures of Rosenquist. It looks like he got a bit wide trying to pass a lapped car into 3 and 4. Brutally hit the wall at the exit of 4, um, absolutely decimating the right rear. We've got debris all over the front stretch. This could take a bit to clean up. Nothing substantial, halfway substantial, halfway not. It's weird. So the right rear has been decimated. However, his other tires were still running. So he was able to at least get it into turns 1 and 2 where he parked it, and the wrecker crew is now retrieving the car. Pit stops are coming up. So we'll see who takes this. Um, so we can monitor these margins. It is lap 182. That will be 68 to the end. Race leader Pato O'Ward is pitting. We're seeing Joseph Newgarden as well. And I think that's a Pink Meyer Shank. Who the heck is that actually? Of course, IndyCar rules dictate these pit stops are largely broken up by which lap competitors are on. So as these two are on the lead lap, though Newgarden and Newgarden and O'Ward will get to the pits. However, we do have other drivers on pit lane here. We'll see how this shakes out. Newgarden, it looks like, actually has had a good stop. Um, we'll see. Pato O'Ward still with the lead. That, of course, Newgarden's good stop is not going to be enough to leapfrog O'Ward. So O'Ward leads over Newgarden. With IndyCar's rules on the wave around, we're actually going to get a bunch of cars on the lead lap here. So if my data is correct here, Alex Palou currently third, Roman Grosjean fourth, Scott Dixon fifth, David Maluka sixth, Colton Herta seventh, and Scott McLaughlin eighth. I think all of them will be back on the lead lap for this final run to the green. With that, those drivers, once they get their lap back, they will be allowed to make their pit stop. It looks like everybody is laid out. So I think we're going to see this turn into a fuel mileage race here today. Wave around is commencing. I think we'll get quite the battle in regards to a dramatic restart. But once that settles down, it's going to be a matter of who manages that throttle best to get it home with minimal disruptions and needing to top off subsequently for fuel. This will be very, very tight. We're now working lap 185 of 250. At this point, this is getting a bit more comfortable, actually, but I could see this being tight for O'Ward and Newgarden. They're, of course, able to save more fuel under yellow, which, of course, we're still running under. Once we restart, though, um, it really will be down to how are these cars burning their fuel. So we now have Felix Rosenquist pulled off track. So we should be getting a restart shortly here. As a quick reminder, we now have 3 cars out of this race. Takuma Sato for Chip Ganassi Racing, the first retirement. Kyle Kirkwood, having made unfortunate contact in the pits, ruining his day. And then Felix Rosenquist as well, out of the race for his recent contact. Wave around now is commencing. Pardon my misreporting earlier. With that being worked currently, Rosenquist cars removed from the track. We should be going green shortly here once the safety crew continues to, once they wrap up picking up the debris on the front stretch. So yes, indeed, we have those 8 cars on the lead lap. Before we restart, I'll do a quick rundown on where those sit. We have Pato O'Ward with his dominant lead thus far. He's led 62 laps, and at one point led several seconds over Joseph Newgarden, who sits second. But don't let that distract you from how much Joseph Newgarden led in the first half of this race, leading 115 laps. He very well could swing back and snatch this thing from O'Ward. While those two were on the lead lap for much of the race, this wave around is going to introduce the rest of the top 8. However, I'm actually going to hold on reporting that, as it looks like we're having a bunch of drivers take a post-wave around pit stop to try and squeeze in even more fuel to get to the end. This is going to substantially shake up the running order, so I will hold station on reporting that until we get that information fixed. However, this is going to put O'Ward and Newgarden in a really, really interesting position. And actually, Newgarden is pitting once more. So Pato O'Ward will have been the last to make a pit stop. He will have been part of that group. He and Newgarden made their initial pit stop when the yellow first came out. However, now that we're doing the second pit stop for the cars that got their lap back, Newgarden has joined this party for an additional splash of fuel. Mad dash on the pits here. Basically, everybody in the race, it looks like, except for O'Ward, came down. So this will shake things up. It looks like, off of my napkin-based calculations, essentially, this is going to be tight for O'Ward. However, everybody else is going to be good, as we are now sitting with 60 laps to go. We'll probably have to see some marginal fuel saving, of course, as I think most people have run about 55 laps before making a pit stop. However, that is still easily within the confines of what these machines are capable of, as we've seen competitors run for 60 plus laps here. Some drivers may need to change up their driving style, how aggressive they are on the throttle, but this should be doable as they manage both their competition and the fuel. But no, this will be putting O'Ward in a rather awkward situation. He will need to save much more aggressively than his competition. However, we have seen that O'Ward has much more speed than everybody else. Is this essentially going to nerf him back into everybody else? I can, speculating here, folks, I can say this race has been cracked wide open. O'Ward has been dominant recently, but yeah, he'll have less fuel than everybody else. I will say, watch out for Joseph Newgarden. That man can win on any track, is a multi-time champion, and he has the fuel to do this. So now that we have this sorted, let's do a very quick rundown on the starting order. Pato O'Ward for McLaren leads. David Malukas in second for Dale Coyne Racing. Joseph Newgarden for Joseph Newgarden will be restarting third for Team Penske. Alex Palou for Chip Ganassi Racing in fourth. Roman Grosjean will be fifth for Andretti Autosport. Colton Herta, his teammate, will be restarting sixth. Scott Dixon Be on the lookout for him to charge to the front. He has won here many, many times in the past in 7th. Scott McLaughlin yet to win here, but my gosh, he has um, he has a lot of talent and is hungry for a win here. So just those 8 cars on the lead lap. If we get more cautions, IndyCar's wave around procedure will bring other cars onto the lead lap, but still the talent among these top 8 is insane, and we will get a treat of a finish here. Lap 192 of 250, safety car is pulling ahead. We are only moments away from a race restart. This is going to be juicy to watch. Um, I don't know why I use that as a descriptor of all things available, but we will be here to watch all 58 laps, or 57 when we go green, of this restart. Lining up, entering turn 4, that'll be Pato Award with David Malukas behind. This restart's going to be a good one. They are line astern, all lined up. Of course, no double file restarts in IndyCar, but that doesn't make them any less crazy. Coming out of 4, Ward is making sure they're all bunched up nicely, and he slams on the throttle, gets a good jump. They're fanning out behind him, but he pulls away from the madness. Lap cars are in the mix as well. It looks like we've got Newgarden already carving his way through the field, getting around the lap car of, I believe that's Marcus Ericsson. Fanning out almost 5 wide, but they're going to settle down nicely into turns 3 and 4. Gaggle of cars running side by side, 2 by 2. Award not having any of that. However, Newgarden's on a charge. Newgarden takes the lead. God, he tried to take the lead, went around the outside, but as we've seen before, can't make that work. Award with the lead, and then coming out of nowhere, Palou down the back straight underneath, snagging that lead from Award. God, they're 3 wide behind. Dixon going around the outside of Ray Hollerman Lanigan car and Scott McLaughlin for position and lap cars. Everybody that is in contention for the lead is trying to get around these lap cars to get up front. Speaking of up front, that's still Alex Palou, but O'Ward is not happy with that lead change. O'Ward is sniffing right. He is sniffing left. He is in the draft. He's going to try and go for another pass. Hanging back here, actually, into turns 1 and 2. Everybody's stacking up, even the lapped cars. The lap cars really want to get their lap back in case there's a restart. That'll put them right in the catbird seat to be in contention for the win here today. Looks like that's still Palou leading. Award runs third. Award second and Newgarden third. Those are your top 3 on track. However, Ericsson runs 4th right now, even though he is 9th scored. He wants to get that lap back. He wants to be scrapping up here for position. Newgarden trying again around the outside, but this time through 3 and 4 with Award. It looks like he's able to make that stick better through 1 and 2. He's alongside with Award. Award keeps the position. But holy crap, Award has taken the lead. He swings ahead of Alex Palou and actually makes it work through 1 and 2 on the high side. I didn't think that was going to work. Um, so we've got Newgarden leading now at this point. Alex Palou second, and somehow in all this madness, David Malukas is now actually alongside O'Ward for 3rd position. Don't blink and miss Roman Grosjean either. He's up here in 5th with teammate Colton Herta running behind in 6th. This is now all for position. All 6 cars that are on track together here are for position. Can't forget about Marcus Ericsson, though. He is 7th in line, wants to get around these cars to see if he can get his lap back. They're getting spread out 3 wide into turn 1. Oh my God, it's Alex Palou, Roman Grosjean, and Award. They settle down nicely. Newgarden leading this group. Palou in 2nd. almost 3 wide again. This time Award Grosjean Malukas. Malukas steps out of it, and up front we actually have Newgarden losing the lead to Palou as he goes around the outside. Behind we have Award and Grosjean side by side at the line for third. Grosjean down the inside of Newgarden. Newgarden's able to hold on to that at the outside. Newgarden making the outside work, unlike earlier today. On the outside follows Pato Award as he tries to go around Grosjean side by side in 3 and 4. Can Grosjean make this work? Whoa! Newgarden pushing Award up into 3 and 4 to hold on to second. Here comes Colton Herta. Came around Grosjean. Had to slow up to not run into the back of O'Ward. O'Ward now pushing forward, getting around Newgarden, trying to get after Palou, but Palou still sitting happy in the lead. We now have 3 wide for second place between Colton Herta, Joseph Newgarden, and Pato O'Ward. O'Ward wisely backs out, allowing Colton Herta up to second. Newgarden in third. Pato O'Ward is running behind this group in fourth. We now have Colton Herta taking the lead for the first time in the race. Wow! Newgarden around the outside of Palou. Newgarden is working that high line today. Exciting. O'Ward not going to go silently either. He is behind Newgarden and Palou, who are side by side for second and third. O'Ward pulls up behind. Is he going to make this 3 wide into 1? No, he backs out, but this allows Grosjean to pull up from 5th. Thinks better of it, holds back as O'Ward, now right behind Newgarden, gets around Palou. Palou drops back to 5th. Colton Herta still leading, but Newgarden is on his tail. Palou and O'Ward are side by side for third. Behind them for 4th and 5th, we have got Grosjean, actually, and I think that's a lap car of Felix Rosenquist trying to get his lap back. Wow, lap cars are dicing up here as well. O'Ward outside of Palou as we go into 3 and 4. O'Ward holding tight very nicely on the exit of 4, getting a marginal run on Palou, taking the position. Now he's going to try and go around the outside of Newgarden into 1, holding on. Excellent driving by O'Ward. He's got a slingshot pulling up on Colton Herta. Colton Herta has the speed, holds on to the lead, but man, O'Ward is going to ask for more and more from that high side. Gets a run out of 4, passes Colton Herta to take the lead. Pato O'Ward is your new race leader. Outside of this, we now have Palou going around the outside of Herta. Herta has shuffled back to third. Don't forget about Newgarden. He's sitting back and forth with Roman Grosjean running 5th. We now have a scrap between Newgarden and Herta for 3rd and 5th, but it looks like Newgarden has taken that position. Herta's not going to go quietly. He's going to try and get that back while defending from Grosjean. Grosjean actually goes around Herta's outside. They're side by side through 3 and 4, taking that position. Oh, all right. Got through that safely. This battle is actually allowing Alex Palou to pull out by quite a bit, half a second over Pato O'Ward, and now Joseph Newgarden in third. Grosjean and Herta from Armchair Autosport rounding out your top 5. Dixon sitting right outside of this top 5, waiting for chaos down in 6th. Scott McLaughlin, of course, don't forget about him in 7th. And then we've got Malukas in 8th. And oh my God, we've got a car in the wall hard. Oh my God, that is David Malukas, I believe. Speak of the devil. Yeah, hard into the wall twice, actually. If I'm having my data here correctly, I believe what happened here with David Malukas was he first hit the wall coming out of turn 1 and 2, and then that damaged his suspension, not allowing him to turn the car. And no, I am sorry, this is not David Malukas. This, however, is his Dalecoin teammate, Stingray Robb, one of the rookie contenders. Stingray Robb hit the wall coming out of 1 and 2, damaged his. Yeah, we're getting a replay here. He loses it coming through turn 2 up into the wall, brushes the wall. IndyCar suspension, of course, as delicate as it is, gets bent. damage sustained. He is then unable to turn the car. However, still carrying speed as the car rubs along the wall, gets bounced across the track, angles into the inside wall at a 45-degree angle. Oh, that was a hard hit. Thankfully, the inner and outer walls do utilize the safety barrier to absorb the impact force. So this is not as violent as it otherwise would have been. A bit delayed here, but we are seeing Stingray Rob climb out of the car currently. He is of his own power. He's walking. He is, of course, going to go to the infield care center to get checked out. Of course, we want to ensure our drivers are safe, healthy after a scary moment like that. But from provided indicators, it looks like Stingray Rob is going to be okay as far as his health is concerned. Um, I'm sure he will be frustrated, though, in that rookie battle. He was running very strongly against his competition. Speaking of his competition, other rookie contenders, Agostino Canapino for Juncos Hollinger Racing, currently sits 15th with Benjamin Peterson for AJ Foyt Racing in 16th. Unless this is a scoring glitch, I'm fairly certain Agostino Canapino has a full lap on Benjamin Peterson. So, barring any unforeseen circumstances, it looks like Agostino Canapino is in a great position to take rookie honors this race. With that, we are actually seeing some pit stops up front right now. Uh, Basically, the entire field, nearly, amazingly, 37 laps to go, and we have, yeah, I think we've seen just about everybody on the on track for the pits here. We're going to take a very quick break here. We will get you up to speed on who has pit and where they sit afterward. Welcome back, race fans, to the PPG 375. I keep wanting to call this the Expel 375. That was one of the sponsors for last year's race, I believe. I don't know why I have that stuck in my mind, but nope, PPG Paint sponsoring this year's race for the 375 miler at Texas Motor Speedway. Of course, we're under yellow. Unfortunate for Stingray Rob of Dale Coyne Racing. He is now our fourth retirement of the day after hitting the wall rather violently. To get you up to speed here, Takuma Sato brought out our first caution about 50 laps into this race. After that, we also had contact in the pits between Alexander Rossi and Kyle Kirkwood in the pits. Um, Alexander Rossi did have to make repairs to his car, but he unfortunately went several laps down. Kyle Kirkwood, unfortunately, however, was out of the race entirely. Felix Rosenquist was another retirement we had recently. He spun out into the wall through turns 3 and 4 and obliterated the right rear of his car, Stingray Rob, losing it through turns 1 and 2. He is now our fourth retirement and reason why we are under yellow currently. With that, we did have a lot of people making pit stops under this round of yellow. We now have just outside of 30 laps to go. We'll probably have about 30 to go when we restart this race. It looks like the safety team is close to getting stuff picked up. So we'll get a dramatic 30-lap shootout to the end shortly here. Before we restart, let's do a quick rundown of how everybody will be restarting. A number of these drivers, I should note, have made pit stops, so they will have fresh, grippy rubber for the start. They'll be able to make all sorts of dramatic moves. We'll get to see all sorts of fun passing on this upcoming restart. Alex Palou currently leads for Chip Ganassi Racing. We haven't seen him lead too many laps, but he's still been up at the front. Definitely a contender. Same goes for Roman Grosjean. He actually has not led a lap yet at all today for Andretti Autosport, but he will be restarting second. Colton Herta has led a few in the third. This last restart shows that he is absolutely a contender today. Scott Dixon for Chip Ganassi Racing, teammate to Alex Palou, will be restarting fourth. Pato O'Ward for Arrow McLaren fifth. Joseph Newgarden, watch out for him in sixth. Scott McLaughlin in seventh. And we should be restarting next time around here. It looks like the safety car is pulling ahead. It will be going off track shortly here into the pits. Alex Palou setting the pace, bringing them down to a slow pace for the restart on the back straight. Of course, no double file restarts for IndyCar. Still going to have a lot of drama. I can sense it. This is going to be a tight one as we will restart with 31 laps to go around the high banks of Texas Motor Speedway. Colton Herta is on the back. Grosjean ready for this to go. Alex Palou pacing, pulls out, and on the throttle, he brings them to green. We already see passes in the back. Grosjean in second, Herta right behind them. Grosjean with a jump, looking to pass Palou, but Palou holds on. Contact very slightly between Herta and Grosjean, actually. Nothing severe. They're able to separate quickly, and Grosjean already challenging for the lead. Oh, he's going to lead his first lap today as he gets around Palou. Yes, Grosjean scored leading that lap, but Palou comes back on the low side for the lead, side by side through 1 and 2, Palou winning out eventually. They have a few car lengths on Herta, who is now getting passed on the low side by O'Ward in turns 3 and 4. O'Ward moving up to the front. Of course, can't forget, O'Ward practically dominated the second half of this race. O'Ward almost made it 3 wide, watching the tail end of Grosjean and Palou as they battle for the lead. Grosjean on the low side, Palou on the high side. Pato making it 3 wide into turns 3 and 4 on the inside, taking the lead. Grosjean smartly backs out of that. Palou slotting in right behind O'Ward for second. Palou with the draft pulling up behind, thinking about the outside. Whoop, don't forget about Joseph Newgarden. He's on the scene, passing Grosjean around the outside in turns 1 and 2. Newgarden on that charge, now up behind Palou, ready to take second place. Back and forth in fifth, we now have Grosjean and Herta battling it out side by side through 3 and 4. And oh my God, we have multiple cars in the wall. Our third caution today, I believe. It is Graham Rahal and Devlin DeFrancesco. Graham Rahal, of course, racing for his father's team, Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing, and Devlin DeFrancesco racing for Andretti Autosport. I think these cars are going to be joining our retired cars today, unfortunately. Substantial damage to Graham Rahal's front end and Devlin DeFrancesco. He is on the inside of the track without a front and rear wing. Bodywork damage as well. Graham Rahal already up and out of the car. Obvious frustration by his body language. He is okay in a health sense, I believe, from what we're seeing. But yeah, you can tell by his body language he is obviously very distraught by this occurrence. It looks like Devlin DeFrancesco made contact with someone or something else first, actually. I think Devlin hit the inside of the wall, actually, and was unable to turn, came across the track in turn 3 from provided imagery, and then it looks like Graham Rahal not expecting, obviously, to see Devlin's car rejoining the track, ran into the back, got a bit of air actually, catapulting his car. Yeah, both of these are done. On board with Rahal currently here. Um, yeah, not really sure what happened with Devlin DeFrancesco's car. I don't think there was even contact on the inside of the wall. Devlin looked to be down on the apron and somehow was going back up onto the racing surface despite several cars still zipping by. Ray Hall, of course, they're barreling into these turns going nearly 220 miles an hour. Um, Obviously, very little time to check up or react. So Grosjean, why do I keep saying Grosjean? Ray Hall piling the back of Devlin's car. Both out. Safety vehicles, of course, on track to get this cleaned up. And pit stops up front again. We've at least got Grosjean, Scott Dixon. I believe that's Pato O'Ward on track. No, no, that's Scott Dixon. Sorry, a lot of orange cars in the race here. We've got Scott Dixon, Grosjean in the pits at least. Renus, VK, and Carpenter, even though they are a lap down. Let's be on the lookout here for Roman Grosjean and Scott Dixon on this next restart. Those two will have fresh tires, and I believe they got a bit of a top off on fuel. Currently, we are working 24 laps to go. We'll still have a bit of time for cleanup, so I'm not quite sure where we'll sit when we fully restart this, but we could easily have less than 20 laps to go. This will be a true sprint to the finish unless we get further um, chaotic wrecks and whatnot. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully we've got some clean, safe, hard racing coming up. With this, it looks like Pato O'Ward has assumed the lead after those drivers have made pit stops. Alex Palou occupies second. Joseph Newgarden third for Team Penske. Colton Herta should be restarting fourth for Andretti Autosport. David Malukas still hanging tight up in that lead group for Dale Coyne Racing, small team from Chicago, in fifth. Scott McLaughlin for Team Penske runs sixth. Scott Dixon just been waiting outside the top five in seventh. He has won 5. Let me get my fact sheet up here. Yes, Scott Dixon has run 5 of these previous races in his storied career. He knows what it takes to win these races. He knows what's needed. I would fully expect Dixon to just be biding his time for this last charge, but also don't count out Roman Grosjean with Dixon. He was just on the pits for those fresh tires. Roman Grosjean starting 8th could be making a heck of a dramatic charge. We only do have those 8 cars on the lead lap. I'm not sure if in this stage of the race we're actually going to get a wave around for more cars on the lead lap. It may just be those 8. However, with that, I will point out Marcus Ericsson and Elio Castroneves sit 9th and 10th, ready to pounce in case they do get their lap back and on the lead lap. Interesting charge for Elio Castroneves. He and his teammate Simon Pagenaud have been hanging out right around 20th in their Meyer Shank cars. Not a good day for that team, but good to see Elio now sitting in 10th, finding some success after a long day for that team. With them, a quick reminder, we now have 5 cars out of this race. Takuma Sato was the first out, scored 28th. Kyle Kirkwood scored 27th. Felix Rosenquist scored 26th. Stingray Robb scored 25th. Graham Rahal and Devlin DeFrancesco scored 25th and 23rd, respectively, in the recent contact that brought out this caution. With that, let's do a rundown of the rest of the running order. Outside of the address top 10, we have Callum Ilott for Juncos Hollinger Racing in 11th. Rookie Agostino Canapino from Argentina in 12th. The rookie having found success in touring car racing in his home country, adapting quite well to IndyCar, currently running 12th, highest running rookie in the field. Behind them is Rinus VeeKay for Ed Carpenter Racing. Finding some mild success there. Ed Carpenter Racing has not been the strongest today, so just outside of the top 10, good for Rinus. Just behind him, driver and team owner Ed Carpenter for Ed Carpenter Racing in 14th. And then Canapino's main rookie rival, Benjamin Peterson, in 15th for AJ Foyt Racing. Let's not forget, in that rookie battle, Stingray Robb is out of this race for Dale Coyne Racing. He was one of our retirements. Other than Benjamin Peterson, though, we do have Will Power, who has been floundering around the top 20. That car keeps moving back and forth, not really finding success. Not the most, not exactly what you would expect from Team Penske today. Not having speed. I believe that car is actually having a lot of issues. Behind him, however, we've got Simon Pagenaud in the Meyer Shank car, 17th. Jack Harvey bringing up the Rahal Letterman Lanigan cars in 18th. Not a good day for that team either. His teammate Christian Lundgaard runs 19th, and don't forget Graham Rahal, third driver on that team, is out from the recent contact. We have Connor Daly as well in 20th for Ed Carpenter Racing, another team that's been struggling. Santino Ferrucci for AJ Foyt Racing in 21st. And then the last running car, Alexander Rossi, 7 laps down for Arrow McLaren. Don't forget, Alexander Rossi was involved in the contact with Kyle Kirkwood in the pits much earlier in the race. While Kyle Kirkwood was forced to retire from that contact, Rossi was able to rejoin the race. However, several laps down after having to make lengthy repairs. With that, we should be coming back to a restart momentarily. Safety team is still cleaning up the track, making sure any of that sharp debris that may cut down a tire is safely removed from the racing surface. This is, of course, safety oriented. We really don't want any further wrecks. Want to make sure this is a safe experience for good, hard, clean racing. We now sit with 16 laps to go. Yeah, this is, I can't say at this point how many we're going to actually get when we get around to restarting this race. Safety team obviously being very diligent with making sure the event is safe to resume. However, that diligence may compact the amount of green flag racing we have further. So let's see momentarily here how exactly this goes. Quick reminder on how we'll be restarting here. We will have Pato Ward bringing them to green, followed by Alex Palou in second, Joseph Newgarden third. Colton Herta and David Malukas will round out the top 5 with Scott McLaughlin, Roman Grosjean, 6th and 7th. Scott Dixon will be the last car on the lead lap when we eventually go green. Looks like before we go green, though, however, several lapped cars are making final pit stops, likely wanting to get fresh rubber for what will probably be about a 10-lap charge to the green. Just because you're a lap down doesn't mean you still can't race. If we get a subsequent yellow and you happen to be in a good position, you can get your lap back. So everybody that is a lap down is going to be hungry for that opportunity. Additionally, of course, while it is only the second race of the year, we will, a lot of these drivers are also thinking points and championship. IndyCar Series, of course, awards points for every finishing order. So even simply outlasting the retirements, such as Alexander Rossi, he is automatically going to be picking up more points than all of those 6 drivers now who have unfortunately retired from this race. Few more minutes here of cleanup. We will absolutely still have green flag racing here in store for you guys. Good hard racing on tap. It looks like the leaders are antsy to go. Of course, this will be a single file restart. IndyCar doesn't do double file like NASCAR does. That, of course, does not make it any less dramatic otherwise. We will be going green this time around. Drivers swaying side to side, building up heat for those tires on the back straight. Pato O'Ward will be bringing them to green with Palou in second and Newgarden in third. These drivers have been exchanging the lead all day. No reason to think any one of these drivers could be leading when we go green next time around. Coming through for line astern, everybody's hungry, everybody's ready. O'Ward is ready. Coming out of 4, he slams on the throttle, pulls away from the rest of the pack, already side by side as we see Palou and Newgarden scrapping for second. Herta is on the scene there as they accelerate into 1 and 2. Scott McLaughlin trying to get around Malukas farther back. Grosjean trying to run the high line. Dixon, of course, ready to push as well. Up front, it looks like we do have a lead change as expected with Alex Palou taking over from Pato O'Ward and Newgarden running up into the back of O'Ward. Pato O'Ward is not going to take this line down. He's going around the outside of Palou, trying to hold on to that lead. High side through 1 and 2. Further back, we do have Newgarden running third. David Malukas still holding fourth in his Dale Coyne Honda. Beyond that, we do have Colton Herta running fifth. A lot of scrapping between McLaughlin, Dixon, and Grosjean for 6th, 7th, and 8th. Up front, though, accordion effect, we've got Palou leading, Newgarden and Pato side by side. Newgarden has taken second from Pato O'Ward and has a sight set on Alex Palou now. Of course, Pato O'Ward staying hungry. Farther back, we have Dixon diving down the inside of McLaughlin for 6th position. We have David Malukas trying to work forward too, actually, working the back of Alex Palou. Ahead of them, we have Newgarden going around the outside of Alex Palou for the lead. Newgarden slowing up ever so slightly in that high line, Palou coming back. This has allowed Pato O'Ward to catch up behind them as your race leaders of Newgarden and Palou go side by side, almost touching through 4. It looks like O'Ward is about to make it 3 wide, but thinks better of it as Newgarden takes the lead. O'Ward and Palou side by side. O'Ward makes the high side work as he claims second. Uses that draft to sneak up Newgarden. Newgarden dips low, trying to break the draft, but O'Ward is able to use that draft to suck up behind, goes around the high side of 3 and 4, dead even as they exit 4 and 4. O'Ward with a slight advantage. Newgarden coming back, not sure who led that lap. Holy crap! Chicago native David Malukas is now up to third, fighting for the race lead. He just got around Alex Palou, but Alex Palou is coming back. Behind them, we have Scott Dixon in 5th and Roman Grosjean back further, still trying to make up ground. Looks like McLaughlin and Herta have dropped back a bit. Not sure they want to get involved in how hairy this is. 2 by 2 by 2. Newgarden and O'Ward, Malukas and Palou, and Dixon and Grosjean, all for the top 6. Now we've got Newgarden and O'Ward scrapping again for the lead. Newgarden trying that high side, but it looks like Newgarden has the lead. Behind them, Palou and Malukas side by side. Malukas holding tight on the outside, but Palou with the advantage. Newgarden up front, meanwhile, coming back on the inside of O'Ward with the momentum. O'Ward still holding tight. It's a battle of momentum here, folks. That inside line is going to get you around the turns faster, but the high side is going to give you more momentum, more straight line when you're on the straights. So we're going to see this go back and forth, but it looks like it wins out for Newgarden as he takes the lead. Palou and O'Ward taking the battle for second now. Malukas ready to pounce on third, drifts back a bit. Grosjean is in fifth, ready to go after Malukas. They're now a bit more spread out compared to where they were before. We now have 4 laps to go. It is time to go. O'Ward around the outside of Newgarden. 3 to go at this point. Going around the outside, side by side, Newgarden on the inside. Who's going to have the momentum on the back straight? It looks like it's Newgarden, but then O'Ward with the momentum. O'Ward holding tight, dead even through 3 and 4, side by side, nearly making contact at the line, dead even. 2 to go. It's Alex Palou right behind them. Behind them, we have Grosjean and Malukas side by side for 4th and 5th. Near contact between them. There is contact. Grosjean's into the wall hard. Oh, God. Looks like as this comes out, Newgarden was only marginally ahead of O'Ward. This is massive. IndyCar, of course, does not utilize a green-white checker rule like NASCAR. Final lap has begun under yellow. Newgarden leading the race. Pato O'Ward seconds. Joseph Newgarden, unless he encounters some kind of mechanical breakdown on this last lap, is going to win the race. Quick update on Roman Grosjean, of course. Scary hit there while fighting in the top 5 with David Malukas. Looks to be okay, removing the steering wheel from his vehicle. He slammed into the outside wall and then into the inside wall, but appears to be largely okay. Probably a bit shaken up, but getting out of that vehicle. Joseph Newgarden has won the PPG 375. Rather fitting as PPG is sponsoring his Penske Chevrolet. So good sponsor placement there for them. Pato O'Ward did not take that lying down, fighting till the very last breath in seconds in his Chevrolet powered Aero McLaren racing car. Behind them, the first Honda of Alex Palou for Chip Ganassi Racing in third. Chicago native David Malukas for Dale Coyne Racing, Chicago-based team, good for Chicago, in fourth. Behind them, Scott Dixon with a very solid fifth. Might not be a race win, but that's going to be a solid finish to mount a championship charge with. Scott McLaughlin, same for him as well, running sixth. At Colton Herta, seventh for Andretti Autosport. And then Roman Grosjean, despite hitting the wall, due to the rules with freezing, actually, no. I believe I'm mistaken there. Yeah, this is largely unofficial at this point. Grosjean maybe scored an eighth due to when the field was frozen due to the yellow flag. I believe that's how he will be scored. Grosjean scored an eighth due to when the caution flag came out. Yes, he should be. This is, of course, all provisional. There will be a post-race tech inspection. I should obviously make this a disclaimer. All of these results are provisional, but if the interpretation of the rules is correct here, Roman Grosjean, despite crashing on this second to last lap, will be scored in eighth in his Honda-powered Andretti Autosport DHL-sponsored IndyCar. Looking at a replay here, yeah, he hit the outside wall after making slight contact with Malukas, which destabilized his car. Malukas, obviously okay, still bringing it home in fourth. But not a good day for Grosjean with the way this brings an end to the race. With that, your top 10 is rounded out by Marcus Ericsson in ninth and Callum Ilott in 10th. As far as the rookie battle goes, we have Agostino Canapino in 13th, I believe, for Juncos Hollinger Racing, and Benjamin Peterson for AJ Foyt Racing in 16th. Stingray Rob, of course, did unfortunately crash out of this race back in 25th. Still, amazing battle by all rookies involved. They were in there with series regulars, veterans that have been doing this for decades even. Good showing by our rookie class today here at Texas Motor Speedway. Joseph Newgarden, your race winner, well-deserved, led a total of, where was this? He led a total of 123 laps, nearly half the laps of the race. Pato O'Ward, barely missing out. Pato O'Ward at least has logged the fastest lap of the race en route to finishing second. With this, folks, thank you for joining this broadcast of the Armchair Autosport commentary of the IndyCar PPG 375 at Texas. Again, please like and subscribe if you have enjoyed this broadcast. Your support is very welcome, and will offer and will be much needed if we continuing these broadcasts as the season progresses. If you would like to see further broadcasts outside of IndyCar, such as IMSA, perhaps even NASCAR, please leave a comment, and we'll see what we can do to incorporate into future events. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you for joining us for this amazing IndyCar race.